My name is Mack Paul. I'm a partner in the land use practice. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and there's very little attention there given the prominence of national politics on local issues. Growing up in Washington, I really was sort of focused on national issues and went to law school thinking that I would somehow get involved in public policy. But the one thing that I really enjoyed growing up was always reading about some new development happening in Washington, the plans for the city, and it was a very much a growing area. Well, I ended up coming back to Raleigh after law school, and Raleigh was my hometown and where my family comes from. But I came with the mindset of being involved in policy, having grown up in Washington, D.C. And what I found was soon after getting to Raleigh that I was really interested in what was happening with planning and transportation. There was a big debate about transit, which still continues today, 25 years later, and quickly got involved in a lot of the local initiatives. And even though, I did try to join up and get involved in some of the statewide campaigns politically, I found myself very passionate and interested in what was happening at the local level. I had no concept of how that related to the law and legal practice. So I kind of went to a large firm, was working in litigation, which I really didn't enjoy. And many years later, after having gone through this political path, working for the lieutenant governor, he ultimately lost in a campaign for governor. I found myself having to go back and kind of recreate my law practice. And that was the first chance I really had to work in the land use area. And it really wedded together this interest I had in local issues and real estate development, planning, and law. And that was about 15 years ago, and really found that it was an area I enjoyed, and it's over time become kind of the main component of my practice. And it was a little bit of a transition from going from being involved in the issues from purely a civic standpoint, a political standpoint, to actually representing clients and doing what lawyers do, where you're zealously advocating for your client. My involvement happened at a really good time because we were really transitioning as a community from the growth following World War II, which was a very suburban pattern, to a more urban, mixed-use infill, which has really intrigued me and interested me. So, I've been fortunate to get involved in land use at a time where many of my interests dovetailed with the patterns and demographic changes that were happening in our society. And I feel really fortunate to be part of what is making Raleigh what it is today. I think it's a great city. I think it has a huge future in front of it. And I think North Carolina has a great future in front of it. And, we have a practice that's able to be a part of many development projects, not just in Raleigh, but across the state.